Tourism in Las Vegas is in a big slump this summer, costing the city billions of dollars. Some are saying that could signal trouble ahead for the U.S. economy.
We're seeing double-digit drops in Vegas in particular, and I think that's going to be the story of international tourism in 2025 and going into 2026.
Las Vegas may still dazzle, but for many visitors, that sparkle now comes at a steeper price, from soaring hotel rates to $9 coffees. Inflation is hitting hard, and fewer tourists are traveling to the famous destination.
Picture this. You land in Las Vegas expecting glitz, energy, and that electric feeling that only this city ever had. You check in at your hotel, and before you've even unpacked your suitcase, the bill hits you. $60 early check-in fee, $50 resort fee, $25 cocktails, and you realize it's not the Vegas you remember. One Reddit user summed it up perfectly. "We can't afford Vegas the same way we used to. This is why we just sleep in the car now." Tourist numbers are collapsing. Vegas saw an 11.3% drop in visitors this June alone. That's over 400,000 fewer people in a single month. So what's happening? The truth is, Vegas is being redesigned to push out the middle class on purpose. And it all starts with one cold, calculated idea straight from the top. Reason number 1, the elimination strategy. The truth slipped out in one sentence. During a 2023 investor call, Caesars Entertainment CEO Tom Reeg said, "You're kicking out the lowest end. I see no reason that needs to stop or would stop." That's not a misquote. That's the plan. Vegas executives aren't hiding it anymore. They want fewer tourists, but richer ones. They're deliberately pushing out middle-class visitors who used to fill the Strip, the buffets, the shows, the blackjack tables. Because when your goal is to impress billionaires, the average gambler just gets in the way. Every price hike, every new fee, every closed attraction, it's not random. It's part of a strategy. Make Vegas so expensive that only whales can swim. But here's what they don't get. When you chase away the crowd, you kill the atmosphere. And without that buzz, even the whales stop coming. 2. When Vegas lost its magic. There was a time when Vegas felt magical. You could walk the Strip and see fire shoot from the Mirage volcano, pirates battling at Treasure Island, or fountains dancing to Sinatra, all for free. Families, honeymooners, broke college kids, everyone got a front row seat. That was the deal. Vegas gave you a show, even if you didn't gamble. But that deal's dead. In August 2024, the Mirage volcano, a Vegas icon since 1989, was demolished to make room for Hard Rock's new guitar-shaped tower. Crowds gathered to watch one last eruption, phones raised, nostalgia in their eyes, before it vanished forever. The same thing happened to Treasure Island's pirate show, and even small attractions like the Avengers Station have gone dark. They call it progress, but what it really is sterilization. Vegas used to invite everyone in. Now, it just sells exclusivity. And with every upgrade, it's losing the only thing that made it legendary, the feeling that you belonged there, even for one night. 3. The high roller obsession. So who's Vegas catering to now? Not the tourists who save all year for one weekend on the Strip. They've been priced out. Vegas now chases the whales, the ultra-rich gamblers who bet more in one night than most people earn in a year. People like James Packer, the Australian billionaire who splashes millions at the Bellagio, or Floyd Mayweather, whose gambling streaks are legendary. For them, Vegas rolls out the red carpet, literally. Private jets, chauffeured Bentleys, suites so luxurious they don't even appear online. Meanwhile, the rest of us are paying $25 for a watered-down cocktail and a $55 resort fee. But here's the irony. Those whales aren't what keep Vegas alive. It's the crowd, the middle-class gamblers who fill the floor, buy the drinks, cheer at the tables. They're the heartbeat of the city. And Vegas is cutting out its own heart to impress a handful of millionaires. 4. Death by hidden fees. Vegas used to be famous for cheap thrills. You could get a buffet, a beer, and a story to tell, all for pocket change. Now, it's death by 1,000 fees. MGM Resorts hiked resort fees twice in 2024. They now average $40 to $55 a night on top of inflated room rates. That $99 hotel deal you saw online? By checkout, it's pushing $200. And that's before the $25 cocktails, $30 pancakes, and $35 burgers. One tourist joked, "They nickel and dime you, and by nickel, I mean $25. Even the gambling odds have been quietly nerfed. Most blackjack tables now pay 6 to 5 instead of 3 to 2, cutting your winnings nearly in half. It's a city built on taking your money, but it used to make you feel good while doing it. Now, it just feels like a scam with a gift shop. 5. Real people, real losses. Behind every empty casino floor and inflated price tag, there are real people feeling the fallout. An anonymous cocktail waitress at Caesars I interviewed said, "I'm seeing a lot less tips than I normally would. We've got way fewer people gambling." Another server said her tip income dropped by half compared to last summer. And on TikTok, one strip worker vented, "Last year, I made $300 to $500 a night. This week, $124. These are the people who built the Vegas experience, the ones who smiled through hangovers and bad beats to make visitors feel like high rollers. Now they're watching the crowds disappear, shifts shrink, and management act like it's business as usual. When you squeeze the customers dry, the workers bleed next, and eventually, there's nothing left to give. 6. The numbers don't lie. For years, casino executives bragged that record profits proved their strategy was working. But the numbers tell a completely different story. Hotel occupancy on the Strip dropped to 78.9%, down 2.1 points from the year before. Average daily room rates slipped 5.5%, down to about $185 a night. And here's the big one. Casino net income on the Strip fell a staggering 40.4% in 2024, even though revenue went up over 6%. So how do you make more money but keep less of it? By bleeding your customers dry until they stop coming back. The math doesn't lie. Tourists are spending less time, less money, and leaving more frustrated than ever. But instead of fixing the problem, Vegas doubled down. They call it premium repositioning, a fancy way of saying charge more for less. Casinos replaced character with corporate polish, cut staff, raised prices, and stretched every dollar until it screamed. They think short-term profits look better to shareholders than long-term loyalty. But that kind of logic only works on paper. Because out on the casino floor, the chairs are empty and the dealers are bored. It's a city designed to win the numbers game, and somehow it's losing. 7. When Vegas hurts, Nevada hurts. When Vegas sneezes, the rest of Nevada catches the cold. Because this city isn't just a tourist destination, it's the economic engine for the entire state. In 2024, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority collected a record $382 million in room taxes, up 8%. Sounds good, right? But look closer. That surge came before the drop-off hit. Officials already expect a slowdown for 2025 and are budgeting for less revenue. That's a polite way of saying the party's over. Here's why it matters. About a third of all room tax revenue in Clark County doesn't stay in Vegas. It goes to public education and transportation improvements across Nevada. So when casino profits fall and hotel bookings shrink, it doesn't just mean fewer tourists. It means less funding for schools, fewer bus routes, potholes that don't get fixed. Vegas's greed isn't just hurting tourists. It's starting to starve the very communities that keep the state running. And it's not just about taxes. The city's now facing a $110 million budget deficit thanks to that revenue shortfall. Local officials are scrambling to plug holes that casino executives help dig. It's ironic. The corporations that built this empire on other people's money are now choking the system that made them rich. Vegas once promised prosperity for all of Nevada. Now it's becoming the reason the state might go broke.
8. The Raiders analogy that explains everything. Imagine Allegiant Stadium on game day. The lights are on, the field's perfect, and the luxury boxes are packed with VIPs sipping champagne. But the rest of the seats? Completely empty. Now ask yourself, how long would those VIPs keep paying top dollar to sit in the dead arena? That's what Vegas feels like right now. Casinos gutted the atmosphere chasing big spenders, forgetting that it's the crowd that creates the magic. They've built a city full of luxury boxes, exclusive lounges, private gaming salons, gated entrances, while the rest of the strip feels hollow. And here's the proof. Local casinos, the ones that still cater to everyday players, are up as much as 50% in revenue, while the massive strip properties are bleeding. Why? Because those local places still understand volume, energy, connection. They know that a packed room of $50 players is worth more than an empty palace waiting for a millionaire. One Redditor summed it up perfectly. They broke the compact with the common man. You used to lose your money, but you ate well, had a clean room, and a little fun. That deal's gone. Vegas executives keep calling it premium repositioning, but in reality, they're just playing to an empty stadium and pretending it's a sellout.
9. The competition is closing in. While Vegas keeps raising prices and chasing billionaires, its competitors are quietly stealing its audience. Budget-minded tourists aren't vanishing, they're just going somewhere else. Small desert towns around Nevada are renovating old resorts and offering real value again. $99 rooms, free breakfast, no resort fee nonsense. They're picking up the customers Vegas kicked out. Atlantic City is marketing itself as the affordable Vegas, complete with free boardwalk entertainment and cheaper tables. Even Napa Valley and Cabo San Lucas are stepping in, pitching all-inclusive luxury for less than a weekend on the Strip. One travel agent put it bluntly, "When you can go to Mexico for cheaper than Las Vegas, you go to Mexico." That's the kind of quote that should terrify every casino CEO. Because Vegas used to be the dream destination, the place to celebrate, to feel alive, to taste a little danger. Now, it's competing with everyone from beach resorts to cruise ships to online casinos, and losing. Travel influencers are skipping it. Younger travelers see it as overpriced and corporate. And the more Vegas tries to look elite, the less unique it becomes. For decades, the city owned the idea of affordable excess, the one place where anyone could live large for a night. Now, it's been reduced to a premium brand in a world full of cheaper knockoffs.
10. The real reason behind it all. At first glance, it's easy to call this greed. And sure, greed is part of it. But underneath, there's something even darker driving Vegas's transformation: desperation. The casino giants aren't raising prices because they're winning. They're doing it because they're losing, slowly, quietly, to a generation that doesn't need them anymore. Younger people don't dream about Vegas the way their parents did. They can gamble from their phones. They can order drinks at home. They can chase dopamine hits through apps, not slot machines. The U.S. online gambling market hit $12.6 billion in 2024, directly eating into Vegas's customer base. And instead of evolving, creating new reasons to visit, new experiences, or affordable fun again, Vegas doubled down on what it knows, squeezing every last dollar from whoever's left. That's why everything costs more. That's why the buffets are gone. That's why the Strip feels like a ghost town dressed in designer clothes. And the consequences are everywhere. As of March 2025, only 8 all-you-can-eat buffets remain on the Strip, down from dozens just a few years ago. The Poker Palace, a family-owned North Las Vegas casino that opened in 1974, is shutting its doors this year, laying off over 120 employees. Places like that don't vanish because of bad luck. They vanish because the system no longer has room for them. Vegas used to be a symbol of escape, a place where a construction worker from Ohio could sit next to a millionaire from Manhattan and both feel like kings. Now, it's a case study in what happens when a city forgets who it's for. Because Vegas doesn't run on money, it runs on energy, on noise, on people. And when you replace the crowd with silence, no jackpot can save you. So here's the truth the casinos don't want you to realize. They didn't kill Vegas by being greedy. They killed it by being scared.
Vegas used to make you a promise. You'd lose your money, sure, but in return, you got the experience of a lifetime. A cheap buffet, a comped drink, a story you'd laugh about for years. That was the deal. And now, that deal is gone. The city built on chance stopped taking chances. It forgot that magic isn't something you can sell at a premium. It's something you create. And without it, all the neon in the world can't hide the emptiness underneath. So maybe the question isn't, what happened to Vegas? Maybe it's, what happens when every place like it starts chasing only the rich? Because Vegas isn't the first city to lose its soul for profit. It's just the loudest example of what happens when greed gets confused with progress. Have you felt the change yourself? Did your last trip feel off? Share your story in the comments below. I want to hear what your Vegas felt like. Because the truth is, this city only lives as long as its stories do. And right now, it's running out of both.